Welcome to the Balboa Yacht Club in Newport Beach, California. We're live here at the Governor's Cup, our first of 10 shows in 6 days. Tonight's the big kickoff, the dinner show here. It's a dinner at 6, and then the kids all to get together on the stage. I'm sorry we can't turn the cameras on and show you the fabulous scene here at Balboa Yacht Club. The junior program's down here a few meters to our right. The bunch of boats lined up out here. The Gov Cup sailors are out practicing in the Pacific Ocean. And with me here is Christine Gribben, the esteemed chair for life of the Gov Cup. How long have you been doing this?
I think I've been chair for 11 years, and I've been on the committee now for 20.
But Andy Rose says you are chair for life.
That's what I've been told.
Is that true?
No, as long as they'll keep me.
We've got a lot of people tuned in already. John Emmett saying good evening from England. He's in Weymouth. Mark Holland is north of Boston saying, I hope the Balboa Yacht Club is cooler than the 101 degrees in Boston. Welcome to all Governor's Cup fans. Thanks for that, Mark. Blake Middleton up in Minneapolis, the land of 10,000 lakes, checking in, Blake. Nice to see you. John Emmett, we said. Greg Phillips on the Gold Coast of Australia. Chris Exley from Hot. He's also in the Boston area in Salem, Mass. Tier DeYoung here in SoCal, and on and on. Larry Kennedy in the FIDI. You know Colin Kennedy, his son.
I do. Oh.
And nice to have Larry on. Rick Bannero, hi-ho, 100 degrees now. And God bless the Miami kids. Larry Kennedy is cheering for the Callahan team. Team Callahan.
Team Biscayne Bay.
Fog Machine up in the Bay Area. Greetings from L.A. is a great Tim Buckley album. And on and on. Look at all the comments already. Hello, Ed Worley, who's also up in the Bay Area. With Christine Gribben here, I just want to do a little bit of preliminary work as usual, just to say, first of all, welcome to Balboa Yacht Club for the 58th edition of the Governor's Cup. It's the oldest, most prestigious international youth match racing championship in the world. And Christine, I just should say here, before I do anything else, I want to thank Magnus the Magnificent, Magnus Wheatley, who wrote a fabulous blog post. You read it this morning?
I did read it this morning, yes.
I sent it out to a lot of people, and it says Reagan's Cup. And why did he say that, Christine?
Because the governor at the time was Ronald Reagan, and he gave us this cup for the Governor's Cup.
A deed of gift and everything.
Deed of gift and charter, absolutely.
Before he was president.
Before he was president, well, he was 1966 as governor of California.
Shall I read some of this from Magnus? He says, you have to go back to 1967, the emergence of a certain Ronald Reagan, who at the time was the governor of California, to begin the remarkable story of the Governor's Cup, truly one of the great stepping stones to international sailing glory. What the great communicator started is rather special, having donated to the fabulous Balboa Yacht Club down on Bayside Drive right here in Corona del Mar in Newport Beach, and a trophy of scale that took on its own prestige, sometimes known as, this is a great line, as the unofficial Youth America's Cup. The Governor's Cup is the gateway to big time for match racers under 23 years old who have eyes on the sport's biggest prizes. In my view, I'm just not going to read the whole thing, but one more paragraph. In my view, Magnus says, the Governor's Cup, the World Match Racing Tour, and the now booming Women's World Match Racing Tour. James Pleasance, thanks for all of your help. Those are critical for young sailors who want to prove that not only are they team players, but that they can perform under pressure. Magnus the Magnificent, on his Rule 69 blog on Substack, a fabulous, long, it goes on for another full page there in fairly small type. Magnus, thank you very much for that. Let's look into what is the starting line for the rest of today's brief show. We're only going to go about an hour because Christine's got to put this dinner on for how many people tonight, Christine? 300?
300.
Under this, we're here in the big pavilion, the America's Cup Pavilion, which gets put up. We're in a little booth here off the pavilion that we call the tech table, where we do the television for tonight's big event. But at the starting line, happy Tuesday, of course, and happy Gov Cup week. And as Andy Rose says, this is sort of like
Christmas in July.
Christmas in July for a whole bunch of us. We love to do this for the kids, for their families, their friends around the world. These shows, all 10 of them, are available not only live but in replay on our YouTube and Facebook channels. Coaching corner. We'll talk we'll have the report from John Emmett as usual. The Opti class shows the future. He's got a great report today from Weymouth, from the Castle Cove Sailing Club. Admirals Cup and Fastnet. We have an insider report. Not only Magnus the Magnificent is saying he calls it the Fastnet Snorathon, but it's a real nail biter as to who's going to win as the Fastnet race concludes. That is, who's going to win the Admirals Cup. And we have an insider report from guess who? Mr. Dr. Andrew McIrvin, who is of course, in the Isle of Wight in Cowes. The feature today, of course, is with Christine, the preview of the 58th Governor's Cup, and she is the organizing authority chair for life, as we mentioned at the top of the show. We have a video, I think, from the channel race as our last leg, quick minute and a half video, Team Django. It's just a fabulous video with water pouring over the deck of that boat. And I think the channel race, last weekend in which was the kickoff for, of course, the Admirals Cup. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, our fantastic Fozy, and more. Ed Worley is saying the Governor's Cup is a great format to adapt to create the new New York Yacht Club, a magic cup that we talked about on this show. Fritz Mueller, who's also a fan of Team Callahan, he is from Miami, saying hi. And Clark Chapin is saying, shouldn't Fabulous Balboa Yacht Club be all one word? FBYC, they might take that to mean something else. Alan Long's on, heading in the direction of Put-in-Bay. He's on the south shore of Lake Erie. Put-in-Bay, of course, out there just off Sandusky, Ohio, Port Clinton, Ohio.
I've been there.
You have been?
I have been.
That's a fabulous spot as well. We sailed junior sailing there as kids. We used to go to Put-in-Bay. They had race week for the adults, and we had junior week. Some of us learned to do certain things at Put-in-Bay.
I bet.
that you wouldn't otherwise learn at your home club. That's the starting line. And, of course, the main feature is having my longtime friend, the esteemed regatta chair, Christine Gribben, alongside here. There's the tent that's up. That's a shot from previous years, but you can see this huge tent that Christine puts up to accommodate this dinner tonight. And then we will do all our live shows, our morning shows, our press conferences, and so on, except obviously the live racing when we're out on the Pacific Ocean. Quick look in at the Admirals Cup. That was the ranking going into the Fastnet race. The Royal Hong Kong still looks like they might win. We shall see. But Yacht Club de Monaco is in the hunt, as is YCCS, Yacht Club Costa Smeralda, the Royal NZ, and the Cruising Yacht Club. It's very tight. And this from Mr. Dr. Andrew McIrvin a couple hours ago. He said the Ad Cup is going to the wire. I think the Jolts could still beat Carl Kwok, meaning the Royal Hong Kong, with the YCCS and NZ still in the hunt, as they may get to Cherbourg. There are strong, that's over in France where the race finishes, of course. There are strong tides and less wind, which may shuffle the pack further, especially in the Admirals Cup class. The Class 1 boats that did badly inshore are doing well, no surprise, offshore, the bigger boats. I am a bit sad as Mr. Dr. Andrew McIrvin, cannot get to Cherbourg. The boat I was going in has blown an engine, and the ferry times across the English Channel do not work as I am racing my own boat in Cowes Week from Saturday. So thanks for this report, Andrew McIrvin, who sent along some personal pictures. This, the view, he says from the RYA platform. I think he means the RYS, the Royal Yacht Squadron platform, where I was with the Princess Royal and the current admiral of the RORC, another of our longtime friends, Janet Grosvenor. She's been the racing manager. There is the Princess Royal on the left, of course, and Janet there on the right, coming to, I think, the Royal Yacht Squadron to the castle there at Cowes. Here's an interesting shot Andrew sent. He said the only AC boat with a symmetric spinnaker and pole, like the Gov Cup boats, sunrise sailing for the Royal Irish with Eddie Warden on aboard, one of the three JPK 1180s, the others being Garm and the Django, of course. Great stuff. Thank you, Andrew, for these photos. Finally, the Red Funnel Ferry timed it badly 2 minutes before the start of the Admirals Cup. I think, I don't know if that was the Fastnet race or it was just another inshore race in the Admirals Cup, but the red arrows, as you can see at the top, timed it perfectly for the gun. So I assume that was one of the inshore races earlier, or I should say last week. Thank you for that report to Mr. Doctor and Andrew McIrvin. And now here is a fabulous, yet another fabulous Rolex video that was released just this morning.
Tenacity and tactical awareness. 3 skills in evidence at the centenary edition of the Rolex Fastnet race. Whilst conditions have been less fearsome than recent editions, the fleet has been teasing its way through the bands of varied pressure. For the leading contenders for monohull line honours, the race has been a game of cat and mouse. SHK Scallywag was the first to reach the Fastnet Rock, the race's iconic halfway turning point on Sunday night, the lead less than 10 minutes ahead of the chasing pair. Overnight, the crew of Blackjack 100 used the conditions to their advantage to sneak ahead. Passing the Isles of Scilly, Blackjack stretched into an unassailable lead, securing monohull line honours at 12:21 on Tuesday morning, 58 minutes ahead of rival Scallywag and reversing the result of the 2024 Rolex Middle Sea race. Earlier the previous day, the Maxi multi-hulls SVR La Zatigue and Banque Populaire were the first to complete the complex game. The pair of French all teams raced hard to the finish line. SVR La Zatigue eventually prevailed with an elapsed time of 1 day, 17 hours and 18 minutes. Attention now turns to the main prize, overall victory under IRC. The upwind conditions en route to the Fastnet Rock have slowed much of the fleet, while those round the landmark are enjoying fresh reaching winds. Currently leading in the clubhouse is the American entry Choose 2, which crossed the line at 5:11 on Tuesday morning. With more than 300 yachts on the water still competing for the Fastnet trophy, crews are digging deep into their reserves of resilience and determination. Join us again to find out who will be the overall winner on corrected time of the 2025 Rolex Fastnet race.
Would you like to do the Fastnet? Have
No.
you done it?
No.
You haven't done it.
No,
but
I
you're
have
a
not done it.
pilot. You move
am.
around. You're a
Oh,
great
yeah.
sailor.
I can do the Fastnet, sure.
You should do the Fastnet. You take your husband, Dennis,
Yes.
Kevin, A.K.
Kevin Dennis.
What's the story behind that? How did your husband get that name?
Well, Andy
Hey,
one day
Dylan,
decided,
you want to tack this thing down back here behind us? Sorry, we've done
That's
our
all right.
temporary broadcast tent here. You want to tack that curtain down?
Andy, after knowing Kevin for a few years, just started calling him Kevin, or not Kevin, sorry, Dennis. After, dinner, it always happens that Kevin becomes Dennis.
Dennis the Menace.
So, yes.
Huh?
And so now it's kind of taken on a mind of its own, and he's now known as Dennis at the club.
Well, he, like you, are a huge help in running this thing, leading this thing. He's this morning put up the 280, brand new 80-inch. He tells me
88-inch.
88-inch,
88.
7,000 super bright television
yeah.
screens that you'll all see on the show tonight. You'll see in the background as they're either side of the stage, because tonight for this crowd of 300 assembled,
300.
we show the entire show. In fact, all the shows going forward, so the people sitting here can see it live,
Yes.
as well as everybody watching on Facebook and YouTube. So thanks for joining us again. Just a quick look at the Admiral's Cup standings. As you saw in that video, Tschüss, the German word for hugs and kisses. Christian Zugel's boat, Johnny Mordaunt, Tschüss 2, they were the first monohull to finish. Pyewacket was second, Leopard 3, Wind Whisper, Black Pearl, and Whisper down through 6. And then Blackjack, the 100 in 7th, Varuna 6 and 8th, and David Witt's boat, SHK Scallywag in 9th. And I believe that was it, although John Emmett is saying others are about to finish. I don't know if any of you in the chat have later news than that. I grabbed that finish order, for a screen grab that just before we went to air. And it looks, it is a great vid, isn't it, Ted Ryman, who's down in Cape Town in South Africa. It's just an amazing event, and bravo Zulu to everybody involved in the Admiral's Cup, but more importantly for our purposes here, bravo Zulu to everybody, Christine, involved here in the 58th edition of the oldest and most prestigious International Youth Match Racing Championship, known as, I think we should change the name to the Governor Reagan's
the
Cup.
Governor Reagan's Cup.
The late great president of the U.S. and who was California's governor before he was the El Presidente. Let's get to John Emmett's report. John checking in from Castle Cove Sailing Club in Weymouth with this report earlier. After the Wasps, now they've got the Opties and a whole pile of them for a major event there in Weymouth.
Hi, Tom, Julia, and all the Fozy. Well, 250 Wasps somehow managed to leg it, and I think they're probably replaced by more than 250 Optimists. In fact, young Mary, who's an Optimist sailor for my club, is the esteemed camera lady at the moment. So she's walking slowly backwards with a look of great determination. So green box, and I'll do a dance just to make sure it's following me. It's recording now, is it? Yeah. All right, so we better go. I will definitely edit it. And these young sailors, they are absolutely the future of our sport. So I was upstairs in the media office, admittedly feeling a bit hangover and wondering, do I have another cup of coffee to wake me up, or is that going to stop me sleep? And a young lady came in and asked for an interview. And I've been doing media work now for many years. I think it's probably the first time I've actually been asked for an interview. So I think the younger generation are probably more media savvy or more media aware. But you can see in the background as we walk back slowly, we're absolutely filling the boat park with Optimists. So if we keep going, we'll see just how many there are. Now, obviously, they don't take as much space as the Wasps, but we've probably got more people because it's not only one sailor a boat, there's often one sailor, one parent, and there seems to be quite a few dogs. But I just want to say once again, if you haven't done so already, please do like, share, subscribe and comment, because we just want to make sailing as accessible and appealing to everyone as possible. So, you know, on one side we have things like the amazing moths, on the other side we have boats like the Optimists that just get people on the water, and they still, at their very slow speeds, provide absolutely amazingly close racing. And I think, crikey, we're getting close to the tent now and the party, but I think if we look at the Olympians, I think it's almost 100 or 100% will have come from the Optimist dinghy, and that just says something that, you know, from humble beginnings, it's such an important thing. And this class, because it's a junior class, is completely run by volunteers. So yeah, hats off. I think every single day probably takes about 100 volunteers. I haven't shown it, but the whole class has just been through measurement, make sure it's fair racing. We've just had a parade, and I'll put out a highlight video at the end of the week. So yeah, I think the future of sailing is very bright. We should all do our bit to help. Sail fast, sail safe, and keep having fun, because everyone here is.
Emmett's a little bit of a Dave Perry, a Pied Piper for youth sailing, but you know, it's interesting what John said about the kids now coming to him. He shoots videos, he shoots shorts, particularly in the laser class where he's been such a preeminent coach. His wife, Lily Zhu, was the gold medalist in 2012 in the ILCA in the 6, what was then the laser radio. John said a very interesting thing, though, but I have found I have found the same to be true of this year's Governor's Cup competitors, skippers. They are now calling me, texting me, saying, can we do a hit on the morning show? Can we do Road to the Governor's Cup? Let us know what you need. We're happy to do it. And they become quite media savvy.
They are. They've been cooperating and sending us headshots of them so we can put them in the brochures and on the banners that you'll see here tonight. They are very media and tech savvy, whereas my generation was not.
There is Sabrina, your daughter, Herrera. Hello, Madam Chair, Queen. What'd she say?
I don't know.
Madam Queen. Where is it? Madam Chair? I lost the comment here.
Above
Is it up above that?
Yep.
Madam Chair, Queen of the Gov Cup. Tell us before we leave the poster issue, because this is something you started doing a few years ago. That is fabulous. Hanging here on the side of the club, the posters of all the skippers. because I sit here, during the day getting ready for the next show, and I watch the junior sailors, for example, walk by and look at all those individual posters, and I see the adults coming in later
They
in the
do.
day,
Yep.
and they walk down the line here on the side of the club just to our right, looking again at all those posters. What's on the posters?
So it's on the posters are the skippers and some of their accomplishments and what they've sailed in the last year. And sometimes there's podium finishes. Sometimes it's their team, but there's a headshot for sure up in the upper, left-hand corner, and the country that they're from and representing.
And as so Ed Worley, I think it was saying, nice to see families here. I'm sitting here this morning. You're running around getting ready for this big dinner tonight. We're setting up the tech table, but all the teams walk right past us, and their parents that are here.
Yes.
Not all of them have parents, but a number of them do, and their coaches
Or brothers.
or their brothers, their coaches, and it's just fabulous. In fact, Susan Watson Kennedy, who is our esteemed PR person there on the bottom, she's saying the photos are done, and she's been responsible for getting any last-minute photos, posters. And then tonight on the show, up here on the stage, when Andy Rose hosts what we call, it's a polite roast.
It is a very polite roast.
But it is a roast.
Oh, yes. And the kids now, they've done this so often that they roast him right back. They do.
In fact, they come to me now and say, here's what we're going to do so you can get the cameras on.
I think last year we had a tricycle race
across
the stage.
Funny you should mention that. I have it in the show.
Oh,
Couple
perfect.
shots that Tom Walker took of that tricycle race. Back to Emmett. Thanks, John Emmett, as another fabulous report. John Emmett Sailing, get to the front of the fleet. And as we always say at the end of his report, we're doing this big global push with a lot of led by the Australians to get parasailing reinstated for Brisbane 2032, the Olympics, the next set of Olympics after LA in 2028. We need to get parasailing back. The goal is to have it as a demonstration event in Brisbane and then hopefully get reinstated big picture, full-time, long-term as a sport in the Paralympics. That is our beloved sport of yacht racing. Again, we're here coming to you live today from the beautiful Balboa Yacht Club, Corona Del Mar, which is a neighborhood here in Newport Beach, California, midway between LA and San Diego in SoCal in Southern California, our show number 853. Thank you very much for joining us. And thank you very much to Christine Gribben, who is the esteemed longtime chair. Christine, one of the things that makes this event so easy to do is that you do it year after year, and you've got a lot of the same people coming, and then they train their successors. We have Mary Longpree, Tom Walker, who are fabulous photographers who do this with us. Ronnie Daniels
and
comes
Bruce
along.
Cray from Newport Harbor Yacht Club.
He's new.
As well.
He did it last year.
He did it last year.
His name is Bruce
Crary.
Crary. And of course, I have this young guy, Dylan Bartels, who he's such a huge help. And his dad came down and helped this morning, Michael. And they're really such a big help. And I said to Dylan, why don't you switch the show in future?
Sure.
And then I can just gas bag, or better yet, retire.
You want to sit at the table and have dinner, huh?
And that too. We are at the 58th Annual Governor's Cup. Started in 1967, as you heard at the top of the show in that great piece by Magnus the Magnificent. We are at the Balboa Yacht Club. Nice drone shot from a year or so ago. Here, and we're right in front of the club ourselves on what's called the race deck. And here is the bumper. This is the lead-in video you'll see at the top of all of our 10 or 9 shows after this one, 9 shows through the week, culminating in the skipper's press conference, the final press conference Sunday night at 1700. And then, Christine, we roll right into the prize giving. We don't even stop. We just keep right on going. You move the prize table in, the Commodore comes in, and away you go.
That's it.
That's it. So here's the bumper. We call it the B bumper. And there was Cole Tapper and his team, who were the winners last year. And, of course, they're back this year.
They are.
They age out. the
do.
rule is what?
They cannot have reached their 22nd birthday by the last day of the regatta.
22nd?
I'm sorry, 23rd.
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 So the kids are all under age 23, or what the
They are all
Europeans
22.
might say
or under.
U23.
Yep.
Under 23. The Governor's Cup, the most prestigious youth match racing tournament, regatta championship in the world, has been going on here at Balboa Yacht Club since a couple years after the Congressional Cup. It was really started by Chet and
Glee Purcell.
Purcell, Commodore Tom Purcell's esteemed late great
Parents.
parents, and it was started by them in reaction to the Congressional Cup a year or two after the first
So
Con
this
Cup.
is the 60th year of Con Cup. It just happened a couple months ago. So we're 58, so 2 years.
And the Con Cup has a warm-up regatta known as the Ficker's Cup,
Ficker Cup.
named after the late great Bill Ficker, who of course is from Newport Harbor Yacht Club, our fellow club just across the harbor. The late great Bill Ficker is quicker.
It's quicker.
From what cup? What cup did he win?
The America's Cup.
In what year?
I don't know.
He also won the Congressional Cup.
Oh, yeah.
1970, he sailed
Okay.
Intrepid in Newport, won the America's Cup. And do you know that he is the only person that won every race when the Congressional Cup, he went undefeated when the Congressional Cup was only a round-robin series.
Oh, okay.
And that was tough. That was
That's
really
really
hard to
hard.
do back
Yeah.
in the day. So the Ficker Cup, which is the warm-up regatta, it qualifies some teams to go into Congressional Cup, local teams, particularly American teams. Something special between this regatta and the Ficker Cup.
Yes, the winner of the Governor's Cup gets an invitation to the Ficker Cup. And we will have Long Beach Yacht Club here to give that to the winners on Sunday.
Lisa Meyer was on the show in the chat on
Yep.
Friday. Did you see that?
I did, yes.
She said she's looking forward to being down
Yep.
here for that
And
invitation.
the new Commodore, I believe, and the new Congressional Cup chair will be here as well.
They send a lot of brass down
They do.
for our prize day.
Yeah.
I hope they know it's Sunday, not.
It's Sunday. We've had lots
Not
of
Saturday.
communication.
And the reason we keep bringing this Sunday thing up, because normally, forever and ever, the Governor's Cup has started on a Monday night and run through Saturday night, and then Sunday's the travel day. But this year, because World Sailing put the World Youth Match Racing Championship in Gdynia, Poland, on
The wrong dates.
the wrong day. That's a
Let's just say the wrong date.
You're such a diplomat, Christine. On the wrong dates. That some of the kids just got here late last night. They
5 a.m.
flew-
this morning.
Is that right?
Yes.
Who got here at 5 a.m.?
Morgan.
Morgan Pinckney. He missed his plane.
He missed his plane.
Oh, goodness.
Justin got here last night.
Yeah, the sailors who were there in Gdynia just checking in here this morning, and welcome to all of them. And that was a light air, not a great event.
I heard it was light air the last.
We'll talk about that some more in a moment. But welcome to Balboa Yacht Club here in Newport Beach, California, for Christmas in July.
Christmas in July.
Fabulous event. A little more on the specifics of this event. There's a shot from last year. I think that's a Tom Walker shot from last year of Sienna Nichols, who's the local hero. She's a Balboa Yacht Club product. Has she turned 17 yet?
Next week.
She's 16, only
16.
turned 17.
Not yet.
Was runner
17.
about to turn 17. Was runner up in the Rose Cup,
Yes.
named after Andy Rose, which is our U.S. National Match Racing Junior Youth Match
yes.
Racing Championship. And the person who beat her is from across the harbor
Yes, Dylan C.
at Newport Harbor
at
Yacht
Newport Harbor
Club.
Yacht Club.
And he won
He
the
won.
Rose Cup, and they're both in the Gov Cup.
They are. Dylan won his way in because he won the Rose Cup.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Sienna was chosen because she is a member here, and the club always gets to put a team in.
Yes.
No one's won since who won the Gov Cup? Jeffrey Peterson
Jeffrey.
won it twice,
Yes.
and then there was a long gap before that.
No. Christoph Killian won it
2 or 3 years before Jeffrey?
in 2017.
And then there was a long gap.
And then before that, it was, I believe, 31 years.
Wow. And Andy Rose won it twice,
He did?
and he's our Gov Cup steering committee chair,
He
and he'll
is.
host tonight's dinner, the show on the dinner stage
On the
after dinner.
stage.
2000 tonight Pacific time, which is what 0300. Is that right? 15, yeah, 0300 UTC if you want to join us for that. But let's talk about a little more about the specifics here at the Gov Cup. There are 12 identical Gov Cup 22s provided by Balboa Yacht Club. How did these boats come about, Christine?
Well, our club fundraised, and Andy went to our members and said, we would like to build a new fleet. We need to fund it. So he gathered together some funding from more than 12 people, I believe, and funded 12 boats. And so that's how we have 12 boats.
And the boats are designed by?
Our Staff Commodore, Alan Andrews.
Staff Commodore, for those of you in the rest of the world, that's a kind of a West Coast term for past Commodore. Most of the rest of the world calls them past Commodores.
Oh, okay.
But in California, they're typically called staff Commodores
Commodores
because you kind of go on the staff of the old has-beens. It's the has-been staff. But they're very valuable.
They can come in. They're sort of like on the board sometimes, and
But they're very valuable.
they are because they have the
additions.
history of the club.
Up at St. Francis, the staff commodores, some people complain that the staff commodores still run the place because they meet once a month. And
They do. Well, they do read once a
They
month
have
here
a big,
too.
big luncheon, and
Yes.
then they report to the board. The current flag officers
Yes,
show
they
up,
do.
and they sometimes get bearded by the staff
They
commodore.
do.
Why are you doing this or why are you doing that?
I've heard this rumor before.
Staff Commodore Alan Andrews designed these boats, and before that, we had the Gov Cup 21s, which were the predecessors.
Yes,
Alan also designed those,
he did. And then before that, it was just Santana 20s.
and that was quite a while back.
It was. Yeah.
So these boats have been terrific. They've been virtually identical. The kids love them. They're light, they're fast, they're powered up in 5 knots. They're fine to sail in 20 knots, although they're a beast in 20 knots.
They get squirrely then.
They do indeed. If you're just joining us, Christine Gribben, who's the chair of this year's and has been for a decade of the Governor's Cup. A lot of you in chat. And Rick Bannerow is saying, speaking of Christine, not for nothing, but the chair for life has the best California smile maybe ever. Rick, you know Rick Bannerow is a superb photographer, journalist in the East Coast. He gets one of his photos almost always on the cover of various magazines,
Okay.
including Wind Check magazine in the Northeast. Lots of great comments as usual. Alan Long is saying, what was the age determination based on, Christine?
World sailing.
Because it used to be 21.
It used to be under 21, and then now it's under 23, so it's 22.
22. Okay, and that because we want to conform with.
And that's why we have the new boats also, the 22s versus the 21s, because we wanted to host Worlds, and they have to be minimum of 22 feet.
And
so
we've done Worlds, what, twice? How many times have we hosted Worlds?
I believe 3 times.
3 times?
3 times. I think so.
Well, it's the Worlds were just in Gdynia. They've got it, I think, sorted somewhere for next year. But I know some clubs on the East Coast are interested maybe in pitching in and hosting. It's a big job.
It is a big job.
In some ways more difficult than hosting this regatta because you have to deal with the world sailing politics and demands. I mean, let's be frank.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes, I've chaired both of them. So yes.
I'm not telling anything people don't know about hosting a world sailing event. 12 identical Gov Cup 22s. The kids, I keep calling them the kids because relative to me, maybe not you, Christine, but relative to me, they are kids.
Oh,
they're
they're
young.
kids.
Under 23, and I'm 50 years older than they. But these beautiful boats have served this event and our beloved sport so well. Tell us about this field of 12 sailors from 6 nations.
They're great this year. I think it's one of the best ranked and best teams available in the world right now. I have nothing but great things to say about all of them. I know most of them. They've been here before, or I've seen them sail in their countries. It's an amazing thing.
And they will all be on the stage tonight. In fact, I'm going to show you how the pairings. Andy and I have done the pairings, and he gets them up 2 teams at a time.
Yep.
So there's a little give and take between the 2 teams.
And they tries to pair them so that they have something either in common or a little bit of a rivalry going on.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that also in a second. Great field, as Christine was saying. The regatta starts today, the 29th, and runs through Sunday, August 3rd. 12 teams from 6 nations, all, as we said, under age 23. And Christine, it's not easy to put on a regatta like this. Tell us about your many esteemed sponsors, especially the top 2.
So we have Terry Cossey and his Call of the Sea Foundation. For those of you who don't know, he has this foundation up in San Francisco for the Matthew Turner Tall Ship, and they take children and adults and they go sailing up there in San Francisco. And then the Corral family who is longtime member Jack and Kingsley Crowell. Jack, unfortunately, we lost either earlier, I believe it was earlier this
He
year.
was at the dinner last year.
He was.
At age 100.
He was 100.
Yeah.
Yes. And he was great. And his foundation and his wife and his son Spencer and his wife Kingsley, they are continuing the tradition of sponsoring the Governor's Cup. So and then we also have Trish Steele from Newport Harbor Yacht Club. She's also one of our big sponsors this year. So I want to thank her.
Do you want to disclose your budget, order of magnitude? You don't.
Not really, no.
Well, you know, I'm just a talk show host, so I ask questions that I may know the answers to. But it's a big number, and
it is a very big number
because the kids fly themselves here.
Yes.
But once they're here, are they picked up at the airport?
No.
So they get themselves.
Well, sometimes if they've stayed with their hosing house, the hosing house sometimes will pick them up.
Housing host.
Housing host. Did I say that wrong?
The hosers.
Hosing house.
the hosing family. If the housing host, sometimes they've known them from previous years.
Yes,
will pick them up.
They'll stay with them and they'll pick them up. They'll take them back to the airport.
And LAX is not, that's a bit away.
COVID, it was 45 minutes.
Oh, well.
Not anymore. It's about an hour and a half.
And then they're housed.
And
they're fed.
Yes.
Yeah, I ended up here with the Irish team yesterday afternoon. And Anthony A-Train, who's also been here helping us set up this morning, Anthony Chalmont, whose son Christoph has been a help, and Olivia's been a help, and he and his wife are sort of the unofficial ambassadors of the Governor's Cup for the last decade.
Yeah, last 5-6 years, yes.
A-Train, come on over here. So many people know you. I mean, these crews are coming in this morning. Just here, get behind Christine and myself, if you will, for a second. Anthony Chalmont, you got to come over here where you're lit. There you go.
There he was.
You got the best California smile.
Yeah, that's what they said. Anthony, I said, get here where you're well lit, and sometimes that it's early in the day, right, to be well lit.
Right. Well, you guys did it on purpose. The club's closed on Monday.
That's right.
So I help out.
Club is closed. Anthony Chalmont, Fort Worth, Texas, a member of the Fort Worth Boat Club, as are Andy and I. Is the terrific, long time, great yacht club down in Texas.
Yep, I've been there.
Well, you ran a Rose Cup there, or helped run a Rose Cup.
Kim actually ran the Rose Cup there.
His wife.
Mm-hmm. And his son Christoph has sailed in the Governor's Cup.
Exactly. And helped us with television.
Absolutely.
So it is. Several of you said in the comments, it's a family affair, and that's one of the things that makes it so much fun to get down here. Larry Kennedy saying, "Bravo Zulu, Christine," and on and on and on. Those hosing houses
are great.
Blake Middleton up in Minnesota. Those hosing houses are awesome, Christine.
Oh.
So we've had a great group of sponsors that put this together because the kids are well taken care of, and they're just suffice to say. Now let me back that up. I'm getting a little carried away here. I got to do a little setup with this one. On Friday, I had 5 of the skippers, as you saw, and 2 more of the crew on the show. And one of the segments was a live-to-tape segment from Gdynia, Poland, where a number of the teams were racing in the World Youth Match Racing Championship. And we said earlier they just got here after a long plane ride from Europe. And this was, I'm just going to run the first couple minutes of this interview I did with 3 of the great sailors who are here racing this week. Back in the 57th Governor's Cup last year, 2024, Josh Hyde, Justin Callahan, Morgan Pinckney were all in the hunt. And I have all 3 of them live from Gdynia, Poland, where they're racing in the World Sailing's Youth Match Racing Championship. It's late for them in their evening, having a long day on the water. Gentlemen, thanks very much for coming on. Justin, how's it in Gdynia?
Yeah, Gdynia's great. We've had 3 days of racing so far with 2 days of practice. We've had relatively light winds for most of the regatta. Yesterday, in the afternoon, we got around 16, 17 knots and jib up, planing conditions. So we've seen a variety of conditions in these boats, and we've really been enjoying it out here. It's been great competition and a lot of fun.
Josh, is this your first World Championship, the World Sailing Youth Worlds match racing?
No, this is my second one skippering and my third one where I was a main for the Canadian team in 2023.
Were you in Jeddah last year, Josh?
I was.
Okay, well, we'll talk a little bit about that as we get through Gov Cup week because, of course, Cole Tapper won that, and he's the defending Gov Cup champ. Morgan, you've had a long day on the water. Great to have you with us as well. How was your regatta so far?
Oh, it's just been a great learning experience. These boats are really different than any other boat I've sailed before, so we're just kind of putting stuff together and waiting to be ready.
Well, I appreciate all three of you coming on. As I said, last year in the Gov Cup, the 57th Gov Cup. Okay, you get the idea. And we also had Michael Kirkman on from Michigan. That was great. And then we wrapped up with Cole Tapper, who was on at the end, and with his crew.
Yes.
With Hamish and Jack, Jack Freewin and Hamish Vass. Don't call me Voss.
Don't call me Voss.
Couple more chats, a couple more comments here. You're never going to live this one
I'm
down,
not.
Christine.
I'm not going to live it down.
Your husband, Kevin, who's now known as Dennis because of the slip up on the stage. By you, by the way.
Oh,
right?
It was me. Yes.
By you.
It was intentional, by the way.
Oh, it was?
It
Yeah,
was.
right. Was it?
It was.
But now this one, the poser hosers, the hose house.
The hose house.
And that's going to be known. The hosing house is where the firemen work. Steve Gruber said. A serious question from Mark Holland. The oldest are 22, can't have turned 23. How young are the youngest?
They are 16, and they will be 17 next week.
So there's no younger age limit?
The youngest we've had in the past, we've had 14-year-olds, but that was about 15 years ago.
But by rule, there's no
rule on how young. We usually don't take them less than 15, just because it's easier that way.
So Sienna Nichols from this club is 16, turning 17 shortly, and she's the youngest crew.
She's
most of the kids are in their late teens.
Teens, yep.
And early 20s, right?
Yep.
Just back on Gdynia for a minute. We've got the rest of at least the standings from that segment I ran last Friday. Josh, whoops, let's get out of that. There we go. The French guys we were talking about with Justin and Josh and Morgan ended up, and they didn't even get the regatta completed because it was very light. They ended up having to do count back and only rounds robin. They didn't get more than a race or two in the semis. But the two French guys who've got some experience in those boats and were hot in the light air, shifty conditions, the guys were telling me this morning, they ended up first and second. Big time, good sailors. And nice to see France coming through with young match racers, because we've had Timothy Poulet and Timothy Rossi, right?
Yep. I think Ange, who got second, actually won Worlds last year.
The Worlds.
That's the Worlds.
Yeah.
And he got second this year. I believe he won it last year.
Ange Delaires.
Yes.
Well, Justin, as you can see, who's here, was third. Morgan was fourth, and then Josh Hyde was down a little bit in 10th. But the conditions were rather different and rather challenging, and I think there were some problems with the boat. But they didn't sail the full regatta. As I said, they got into some kind of a semifinal series and weren't able to complete it. But that's the Worlds. That's behind us. They're all here now, and tonight is the welcome dinner at 6 o'clock at 1800. And then 2000, we'll do the Meet the Teams live presentation hosted by Andy Rose. It's a lot of fun. And here, a world reveal of the pairings for tonight. We'll start with Sienna Nichols and Dylan C., the Cross Harbor rivals here from Balboa Yacht Club and Newport Harbor Yacht Club. And then we have the Irish, and they're both Irish. I think Michael Kirkman's also a bit Irish. Adam is, of course, from Ireland. Had a nice chat with him and his team yesterday. And Michael Kirkman we had him live on the show Friday from Novi, Michigan, which is near where I grew up in Ann Arbor. Michael Kirkman is the national collegiate match racing champion. So they're going to sort of newbies to this regatta. Andy and I paired them together. And then we've got the Scandinavian connection. I can say that as a Norwegian. Victor Melchior from Denmark, and Theo, it's pronounced in Swede. We had a nice chat with him and his brother Marius, who's here, former Gov Cupper, and Marius is here coaching.
Yes.
Theo, and by the way, their other brother is here. Vigo is here as well.
Okay.
So there's three Vesterland kids and their mom and dad, because Theo Vesterland's dad
His dad
went to high school
Here.
for a year here in Newport Beach, learned
Yeah.
to surf, and he's the only surfing Swede we know, right? A great group in from Scandinavia, Denmark and Sweden, respectively. They'll be paired on stage. Then we got the Kiwis paired on stage, Ethan Fong on the left, and Josh Hyde, who's a Gov Cup vet, and no doubt they'll have. I've told the kids this morning what their pairings are, so they can start to think about what they might say vis-a-vis their counterparts on stage. And as Justin, when I told him, he said, well, I said, it's you and Morgan. He said, well, that's predictable.
Yes.
Justin, of course, leading the way at Harvard University on their sailing team, and Morgan having been a stalwart at Yale University, those rivals in the Ivy League. Then we have the Aussies wrapping it up. Daniel Kemp from Australia with last year's winner, the defending champion, Cole Tapper and his team. And Christine, you mentioned some fun at last year's event. Here's a couple Tom Walker photos showing what Morgan Pinckney did. Very clever. He brought these 2 tricycles. He had some of his crew bring them into this huge dinner. Everybody's gussied up nicely. Beautiful night here under the Gov Cup Pavilion. And then he challenged Andy Rose to a race in the tricycles.
Yes.
Because we had run a video of Morgan having a basket on the basketball court at Yale University, having some kind of a fraternity joke, brotherhood, tricycle race. And of course, he found out we were running that video. So he came with those 2 trikes and challenged Andy to a tricycle race. And of course, Andy did not wisely did not get on one. But that's what you can expect at the dinner tonight at 2000, which again, we will cover live. 2000, which is 0300 UTC. And for those of you down under in Australia and New Zealand, it's -5 to Auckland and -7 the next day, of course, to Sydney, for example. So when we go live at 2000 tonight, -7 from that is 1300 your time on Wednesday. And those of you in Sydney, sorry, -5, it'll be, I'm totally confused. That's right, 1300 in Auckland tomorrow. And then in Sydney, it'll be 1100 in Sydney tomorrow when we do this big dinner and show tonight for you. And by the way, you can watch those shows in replay.
Yes.
In perpetuity on YouTube, and until they take them down off, because Facebook now is starting to, there's so many YouTube,
are they taking them down?
videos, there's Facebook starting to take down videos that are more than a year old.
Oh, wow.
So we download them all. We've saved them all anyway for
I know that the kids do go and review those.
for posterity.
I have been over to the Nichols house while they've been reviewing tapes.
Mark Holland, we've answered his question about the youngest, but there is by rule, like Rose Cup, there is a rule.
There is a rule. You have to be 16 in that year.
But that does not apply to this
That does not apply
event.
Here.
Now, your hoser comment is getting more traction. Rick Bannerow up in Connecticut is saying, replying to Steve Gruber, those would be Canadian hoser. That's a favorite word in Canada.
I know.
Like crouton.
Yes.
Comes from Canada. Who work in the hose house. Poser. You're in for it now, Christy.
I'm done.
We may have to do something tonight at the show. I may go grab a hose off the size of this.
Hose me down.
And we're not going to hose you down. That wouldn't be polite, but we may have some fun with that at the dinner tonight. I'm asked a lot about the race course. I took this shot flying in yesterday, flying down from San Francisco. And I don't know if you can see it here easily, and I don't have my telestrator fired up, but the race course is right off Newport Beach, and there's a pier to the right, as you can see on the right edge of that photo, and a pier to the left of the course area. Those piers are called?
Newport Pier
on the right?
on the left, and
Balboa?
Huntington Beach Pier on the...
No, that's the Newport Pier to the right, and the Balboa Pier to the left.
Okay.
You're the local.
I can't see.
And,
I can't
and
see
they
it.
call that, you hear Dr. Don, your PRO, Dr. Don Becker, who's been the PRO, Principal Race Officer,
for a long time.
And we'll do the morning show Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at 0900, which you host.
I do.
And all of the officials, you get the chief umpire, who's your sister this year.
She is, yes.
And she's a superb umpire.
Yes.
And her name is?
Katie Maxim.
Katie Maxim, and
She's
she
an
was
international
also
umpire.
She was the chump at Rose Cup.
She was.
Chump meaning
Chief umpire.
right? You're an umpire as well.
I have done that once or twice.
And Dr. Don Becker, who's the principal race officer, he comes up and gives a chat. You give a chat. We do the drawings for the boats with
Yep.
Becky Lenhart, the esteemed racing manager here at the club, who's been here also for a
long
decade
time.
plus, right?
20-something,
Has it-
24 years,
Has
I
it been
believe.
that long?
Yeah.
And they talk about the umpires and the race officer, and then Greg Newman,
Greg Newman
Father
or
Greg Newman.
or Patrick Lieber this year, maybe.
Those two are the bosuns,
The
bosuns,
yes.
the bosuns, and they are taking care, and they do a fabulous
They
job.
do. They do an absolutely fabulous job.
And that's the hardest job in the
I believe so. It is one of the hardest jobs, yes.
preparing,
12
tuning.
boats. Absolutely.
And every time there's a little problem out in the water, the kids put up code flag L,
Yes.
Lima, meaning come, and they come over and fix it immediately if there is a problem or solve
Yes.
it one way or another.
Torn spinnaker, replacement spinnaker. That kind
And you will hear Dr. Don talking tomorrow about the school. In fact, Greg Newman is
Yes.
watching about the school course, the schoolyards, because right inshore from that course area
you're
is the Newport Elementary School. And one hears the kids go during recess or their lunch break, they go out and surf.
No, I don't think so.
No? I've heard that.
Well,
Morgan,
they may have done that when they're a long time ago, but I don't think they do it anymore.
well, Morgan Pinckney told me that was the case. Now, maybe he was exaggerating. But that's the schoolyard. That's
yep,
the school
that is
course.
the schoolyard.
In the Pacific Ocean, and we're literally just 100 meters or so off the beach, a fabulous place because it's an onshore breeze for the most part. Sometimes it cranks around to the right or west, and you get a more parallel to the shore breeze, but it's a fabulous, if I may say so, a fabulous racing area. And we'll be on the race course live Saturday and Sunday, going live with covering the racing, the ends of the round robin and the semis on Saturday, some of the semis, and then the wrap of the semis and the finals on Sunday. Both days we go live at 11:30 Pacific time, which is 18:30 UTC, on the Pacific Ocean. So there's our summary of our television schedule starting tonight at 8 o'clock here, the Meet the Teams. And then these morning shows we were just talking about, Thursday through Sunday at 0900 local. Saturday we have two shows, 11:30, or three shows actually, the morning show, then racing at 11:30. Then we come back in, a press conference with the four semifinalist skippers that Andy hosts. And those are a lot of fun. They're light and lively as well. And then on Sunday, same thing, 11:30 racing, but the press conference and awards, we get going a little earlier at 1700, 5 p.m. local, all live on YouTube. In fact, I'll go back to that slide. On the BYC Gulf Cup Facebook page, on the Balboa Yacht Club YouTube channel, and also on the Sailing Illustrated Facebook page and the Sailing Illustrated YouTube channel. It will not be on my personal page because we think four is enough. You get plenty of exposure. That television coverage is done by an all-volunteer team. Chris Bretschker, did I just see you? Come here, Chris.
Yes, I saw him.
Chris.
He's too busy.
Come over here, please. Chris Bretschker, who is the executive producer of Gulf Cup TV, a longtime member here, great sailor, and cigar meister, young father, and he is breaking into our tent here behind me. To squat down, if you would. Chris is... Hello, Chris. Is the executive producer of Gulf Cup TV, and your team of what, 20? How many volunteers now?
19.
19 volunteers, including your parents.
Including my folks.
Who donate Adios, the boat from which we do the live coverage.
Yes, sir.
And your mother is what we call?
What is she now?
Craft executive or VP?
VP or executive director of craft services.
And craft services means victualization.
Make sure that
and
we survive.
Hydration, right?
Hydration is key. Very important. Just like the kids on the water, we keep
Protein.
our team very well hydrated.
But seriously, Chris, you put this team together over the last dozen years, and we started out
iPhone and VHF.
iPhone out on the water with little triangles on the shore, and now it's a full-on multi-camera. How many drones this year?
4 drones, 2 roaming cameras, 2 roaming commentators, the 3 on the boat, a drone operator, 4 cameras on the boat, and lovely team.
And all volunteers.
All volunteers.
And Madam Chairman is out there. Christine is out there as one of our crack spotters.
Yes, she is.
Along with Ken Sherb.
Ken Sherb, and I think we might be joined by Ryan Davidson this year as well.
Who's the chairman, the national chairman of the youth of the Rose Cup.
Very
youth.
fancy individual.
Very fancy.
Yep.
Well, all of your people on Gov Cup TV are fancy individuals, are they
They
not?
all have a resume.
Huh?
So they all know the water. They
The
all have a resume.
The commentators are Kurtonic.
They are very.
Huh?
But we survive with them.
How do you put up with these commentators year in and year out?
Stick you in the side of the room and not have to worry about you for 6 hours at a time.
But you also, I hear, one hears you bought 3 cough switches so that when we go, we can touch the button and
Something
clear.
with your age.
It comes.
Yes,
It comes with age. I'm on the left there in that shot. Ken Sherb, who's one of our top spotters, has been.
Barbie Ken in that shot.
Barbie Ken.
What was that all about?
He went to a Halloween party. I think it was some kind of dress-up party, and I believe he went as Ken from the Barbie movie.
Did you see Cole Tapper's hair this morning?
I did not.
Well, he looks a little bit like that too. Andy Rose, of course, I call him the Gov Cup guru. He hates that when I call him that. Gov Cup guru he's really doing play-by-play.
Seems almost audacious enough where he'd call an entire race after himself.
Oh, come on. And Matt Whitfield, who sailed in this event a couple times, a national match racing champion in youth and senior in the UK, is doing color.
Yep.
And I just sort of host the show and then try to shut up.
You do a great job, Tom.
Try to shut up. I told you I want, Christine, I don't know if you heard this, I want to do a studio show in here during racing. I don't want to go out on the water. It's, I stay in here and let those guys talk and get some of the young guys in.
That makes 19 of us, Tom.
Yeah, and then I can stay in here and do the studio show and say, okay, we're going to throw it to the water. To Gov Cup TV out on audio. No, I love going out in the water.
When we all grow up, maybe we'll be able to do that. But for the time being,
we call Chris Bretschker. We call him CB the Bretschker.
We try our best.
The executive producer. Thanks, Chris. Of Gov Cup TV. We'll be out on the. Turn my mic here a bit. We'll be out on the water. I hope that audio was not too crotonic. Tom's having to share his directional mic, losing your voice, Tom, when you talk behind you. Well, what's new about that, Blake? You've known me for how long? 40 years? And, yeah, okay. Sorry, I was turning my mic so we could hear. Chris Bretschker, executive producer, and all volunteers. I mean, if our club can do it, it takes time to learn and buy the equipment and train people up. It's fabulous. So I'm sorry about the audio there. I didn't know we'd have Chris here, but he's already setting up for tonight's show. And by the way, when we open the show tonight, Christine, the colors ceremony, which is normally at sundown. Sundown tonight's at 7:57.
Yes.
I've checked. And we've delayed that 3 minutes, as you know. Chris will launch a drone from behind me here in this tent, fly it up to the flagpole. The club does their color ceremony. Everyone in the tent will rise. The drone gets all of that. Then they go around the front of the club, get the 12 boats lined up on the front dock here on the main dock, and then he will fly that drone literally all around behind us here and right into the tent, right over our shoulders.
Yeah, I believe it.
And then I will cut to the cover cam as if,
Perfect.
It's the Academy Awards.
That's right.
It's the Oscar ceremony. Okay, that is our coverage, our preview of this week's, I should say, 58th Balboa Yacht Club Governor's Cup with the esteemed Regatta chair for life, Christine Gribben. If there's any questions in the chat, now's the time. Robert McClellan, thank you. It is an impressive operation, more so because it is such a family affair and volunteers. Christine, you have how many, speaking of, how many volunteers?
Approximately 150 to 200 this year.
Wow.
I have to write them all down, but about 150 to 200.
And what is you have race committee. You've got Gov Cup TV.
Yep.
We know about that. How many people on the race committee?
There are 10 on race committee. There are about 8 on mark set. And we have housing. We have people that get swag. We have, what else do we have?
We got all the people helping with this huge dinner, right?
We have the dinner people.
Making lunches.
No, their kids are making the lunches themselves this year.
They are, but are you supplying the?
We were supplying all the stuff.
So they come in and
they're going to have to make their own
Good
sandwiches.
for you.
Yep. We tried it at Rose Cup and it worked out really well.
Because they can make 2 if they want, or
they can make none.
Yeah.
So when we package them, they all take 1 or 2, and then they end up coming back. So we figured if they want one,
make it.
They'll make it.
Good idea.
So
Ask Christine if it gets any easier when you do it every year.
Yes and no. Yes, because I know all the pieces. No, because we keep adding things every year to make it better for the kids and for the audience and everybody else.
There's a guy on here, Tom Pace, who's the past Commodore of Pensacola Yacht Club, who
I
knows
love
a little
Pensacola
bit.
Yacht Club.
Yeah, it's a fabulous.
Love
club.
Pensacola Yacht Club.
And he knows a lot about he's been putting on major events for years down there on the Gulf Coast, and is all part of the Tom Fishback. He was here this morning, or one of the Fishbacks was here.
Yeah.
It is an impressive operation, Robert McClellan. Thank you for that. Thank you kindly. Yeah, I'm sorry about the audio again, guys, but I didn't know Chris was going to be here. I want to just introduce one more person just for a cameo appearance, Dylan Bartels. Have we snuck you in here? Come on in, Dylan, because he's going to take over for me. I'm making the announcement.
You're making the announcement.
I have my successor chosen already. He's a young guy here at the club.
Taylor Bartel.
Dylan Bartels.
Sorry, Dylan.
Whom we pressed into
Taylor's your sister.
We pressed into service last year to do the audio when the professional audio guy couldn't make it, and Dylan did a better job than the he did as good a job, and now he's better.
Great job. He is.
And he's also can switch the show. He's now helping. He is switching the show on the live out on Adios for Chris Bretschker. So he's doing that, and he's if I take a powder this week or any time in the future, he's your man, Christine.
All right.
Dylan, thank you very much. The hardest working, cleverest guy. He just flew in from BC, from Canada last night.
I know, we were talking on the phone.
I know. You called me and I'm literally just taking off on my flight. Like,
Hold on, we can't hear you. Say it again.
Oh, I was saying I was literally just taking off on my flight when Christine was calling me last night for coordination.
Yeah.
You were up at a big music festival up there
Indeed,
in British Columbia. He's your man.
He's my guy.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tom.
Much
Thanks,
Dylan
Dylan.
Bartels, who's fabulous, and another young volunteer who you just don't know.
No.
He volunteered to help last year, and you check him out, and before you know it,
I sent word out. I said, I need this kind of a person, and I got responses back from our fabulous club members that says, why don't you try Dylan?
Any good luck for a great 58. Thanks, Robert McClellan, Governor's Cup 2025 Commodore. He is the Commodore of Royal Prince Alfred.
Oh.
Isn't that nice?
That's very nice.
Just talked to his crew a few minutes ago before we went live, and it's a
Kevin
what?
Taylor Dennis. Kevin Taylor Dennis. No, that wasn't. Oh, that's me.
Christine, it's the hoser comment.
I know.
It's we need a hose tonight, Dylan. We need a hose off the side of the club that we're going to present to Christine, put it around her neck like a laurel wreath, and be sure there's water in the hose so that it kind of waves around between her legs.
Oh, okay.
And puts water on her fancy shoes. Madam Chair, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. It's
We'll
great.
let you get back to work. I'll wrap this up
Alrighty.
with a couple comments. Christine Gribben, with the best smile in Southern California. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll carry on here. We'll turn your mic off, Christine, so you can escape. Just a couple of more quick notes, and what are we into the show by an hour and 3 minutes? I promised you an hour.
Thank you.
And it's been an hour and 3. Lots of comments, over 100 messages. Oh, I better turn my mic up here. There we go. Sorry about that. So we're going to wrap this up. Just to tell you about the America's Cup for a second. Again, as I've been telling you, there's a lot of action going on behind the scenes. And negotiations continue, but not a lot of success. And the lawyers are sharpening their pencils and their tongues. So one hears. AC 38 Cup date 2027 in Naples, or one never knows. We shall see. But the Royal Yacht Squadron is, of course, in Cowes is the challenger of record. They're trying to get a deal with the Defender, but the Defender is being obstreperous. They're just Grant Dalton and the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron who really are in charge, although they've delegated their fiscal and financial and trusteeship to the team, which is against New York law. It's against the America's Cup deed of gift. So this continues to be, although a great yacht club with 2 teams here at Governor's Cup, they are not handling their trusteeship of the America's Cup very well. And that's why I continue to call them the worst. They still have a chance to fix it and not be the worst trustee. They could fix it. You see my yellow hat here, by the way? Sorry, it's blocking my eyes. That is from Claire Harrington, the esteemed Vice Commodore of New York Yacht Club. And she is on the New York Yacht Club cruise watching this, I believe, on the cruise. And she sent this hat and said, no one at GovCup will have a yellow hat, especially one that says Magic, the name of her boat on it. So, Claire, thank you for that hat. And I'm sorry to say that the RNZ is still upside down. Okay, that gets us to the last leg, and I promised you another video from Admiral's Cup. This was sent in by Greg Phillips down in Australia. And I don't know from which race, where this took place. It was on Facebook. I grabbed it because it's just such a fabulous minute-plus video. Have a look.
Pequeño de agua.
Chris actually saying, man, that's a wet boat, but look at them scream along. Yeah, just great stuff, wasn't it? Yeah, who was it? There was a comment earlier. J. Frederick Bland, Boomer Bland. I was just talking, there's a couple of young sailors here that working at Balboa Yacht Club, James, who are from your club there on Lake Travis in Austin, and asked me to send you their regards. Talking with them earlier today, one of the top coaches here at Balboa Yacht Club. But suffice to say, he says someone has really bad gas, which reminds me, we had Robin Williams up in San Francisco when we were doing the IACC boats, I think, and when Larry Ellison was racing Ernesto Bertorelli in 07. There after or maybe in 03, after Alinghi had won the Cup in Auckland in 2003. So we're hosting that home and home series in the IACC boats in San Francisco, and then Ernesto ran his in Newport, Rhode Island to help his sponsor. And Robin Williams went out in the back of the boat, the late, great, hilarious comedian, and he heard those noises, the grunting noises of the sheets being eased, the winches, and the carbon, it's all amplified by the carbon hulls. And he came in, and the press were all, there's a huge throng of press coming as he got off the boat. And he said, oh, those boats sound like an old man groaning during sex. And I'll never forget Robin Williams saying that. And I don't know what an old man groaning during sex sounds like, so I'll leave it to you in the chat. Tell us if that is what it sounds like in a carbon boat when they're easing the sheets around the winches. Greg Phillips sent that to us. Thank you, Greg, down in Oz. Thank you very much, which gives us a wrap for this show. Number 853 on today, Tuesday, the 29th of July, 2025. But as always, we like to do a quick Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. My daughter Meg sent in this video. She said, Daddy, why don't you all do a similar video that's all yacht racing? Have a look at this fun and funny video.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. No way! No!
I think that's my favorite. This one's pretty good too.
Oh!
So that's the challenge to the Fozy. We got to come up with a video of these sorts of weird sailing anomalies, would you call them? Tricks? Good video. Thank you to my daughter, Maggie Eamon, who sent that in. And as Blake Middleton likes to say always at the end of the show, all the smartest people sail, and you can see, including how smart Madam Chair Christine Gribben is, despite her hose. We're never going to let her live down that hosing comment. Thanks, Blake Middleton, for that. That gets us to the finish line. And if Julia Vedekint were here, she sends her regards from San Francisco up there at the Beach Street Yacht Club. No doubt she's watching. She would urge all of you, as John Emmett did in his opening video, to like, follow, and share. And I'll remind you that comments are welcome even in replay, because we leave the comment. Unlike a lot of these live shows on YouTube and Facebook where you get so many trolls who come in and say crotonic things, idiotic things, name calling, just horrible stuff. We don't see that very often. And if we do, Julia will immediately, she watches that, she'll get rid of them and ban the croutons for life. It's a one what do you call it? One hit, you're out. No, one strike and you're out is what it is. I'm looking at my executive producer, Tom Walker, over here, who's lit today's show. You should have seen it before he brought us some lights. Thank you, Tom. And you'll see his photos during the regatta, because Tom and Mary Parra will bring us, they'll be out on the water. They shoot photos, send them to me, and Andy, and we draft the press release out on the water, come in here, get it all buffed out, and then send it to our esteemed press secretary, Susan Watson Kenny, who was on in the comments. One and done. Thanks, Rick Banner. Yeah, one strike and you're out. Great show, great road show. Thanks to everybody who helped put it together. Thanks to all of you who give us a few bucks a month via patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated. Without you, we could not have any of these shows. Thanks very much for your support. Thanks to everyone who, again, gave us audio, video, and images for today's show. I'll ask Julia, if she were here, I'd ask her for a final comment. And hearing none from Julia, I will bid you all a good Tuesday afternoon from Newport Beach, California. We will see you tonight at 2000. I hope you can join us, or at least watch the replay. 2000, 8 p.m. local time, for the Meet the Teams show, hosted by Andy Rose, just across the way here in the big Gov Cup Pavilion, in the big tent, just on the other side of the tent. From us, I'll be switching and producing that show. And then we've got the rest of the action through the week. No Sailing Illustrated show this Friday. We've got a lot on. We'll be out on the water getting ready for the live coverage on Saturday and Sunday. Thanks again. We'll see you not Friday. We'll see you a week from today when I'm back up in San Francisco. In the meantime, sail fast, sail safe, and have fun. Ciao for now.